Have you ever felt like the weight of your marriage problems was pressing down on more than just your relationship? Like it was crushing your spirit too? You're not alone. The truth is, ongoing disconnection, constant arguments, or even the silent treatment can do more than strain a marriage. They can slowly chip away at your mental health. Yes, marriage problems can lead to depression if they go unresolved. But here's the hope: it doesn't have to end there. Today, we're going to uncover the warning signs to look for, simple repair rituals that bring healing, and ways to restore safety and closeness before the damage takes root. Because your marriage doesn't just affect your relationship, it affects your mind, your heart, and your future. And together, we're going to learn how to protect all three. Welcome back, Uplifting Life Partners, to the Simplified Uplifters Marriage Mastery Podcast. This is our Marriage Builder Sunday segment, where we focus on giving you practical tools to build, repair, and strengthen the foundation of your relationship. Our goal? To help you create a marriage that feels stronger, more joyful, and more resilient. I'm your host, Ron Simplified Myers, and together, let's ignite possibilities for your marriage. Today, we're asking a hard but vital question. Can marriage problems cause depression? The truth is yes. When disconnection and unresolved issues go unchecked, the emotional cost can be heavy. But there's hope. And today, we'll look at how couples can spot the warning signs, build repair rituals, and restore safety before damage takes root. Let's talk about something we don't always see right away: how the stress inside a marriage can quietly impact your mental health. We often think depression is about outside pressures, work, money, family. But the truth is, the emotional climate of your marriage plays a powerful role in how you feel every day. Here's the hidden impact. When conflict stays unresolved or silence replaces communication, the relationship starts to generate chronic stress. And when that stress lingers, it can drain joy, energy, and even hope. Emotional climate shapes mental health. The tone of your marriage, whether warm and supportive or tense and distant, sets the baseline for how safe and secure you feel. A loving climate builds resilience. A cold or dismissive climate chips away at well-being. Conflict plus silence equals chronic stress. Occasional disagreements don't break a marriage, but repeated unresolved conflict or long silences that push issues under the rug create a cycle of tension. When you're walking on eggshells or feeling invisible, your body stays in fight or flight mode. Over time, that stress can feel like emotional burnout. Depression can hide in plain sight. Depression in marriage doesn't always show up as sadness or tears. It can look like irritability, emotional withdrawal, or a spouse who goes quiet and seems checked out. What looks like laziness or anger may actually be the weight of marital stress. Simone had been trying to share her struggles at work. When she brought it up, Caleb would quickly say, "Don't worry, it'll be fine," or change the subject. He thought he was helping by keeping the mood light and avoiding conflict. But for Simone, his silence felt like dismissal. Each time her concerns were brushed off, her loneliness grew. She began thinking, why bother sharing if he won't listen? At first, Caleb thought fewer conversations meant fewer arguments, but what he didn't realize was that Simone was quietly slipping into a sadness that looked like depression. She wasn't crying. Instead, she pulled back. She stopped laughing at his jokes, stopped suggesting date nights, and went to bed early most nights. What Caleb read as peace was actually Simone shutting down. The problem wasn't Caleb alone. It was their eroding connection. The silence created stress, and the stress began to weigh on Simone's mental health. Take a moment to ask yourself, when my spouse pulls back, do I mistake it for peace, or do I check in gently? Have I been brushing off my partner's concerns instead of validating them? What small change could I make this week? Listening longer, asking one more question, or giving a hug to shift the emotional climate in our marriage? After analyzing these questions, we can notice why paying attention to the emotional climate matters. It's not just about avoiding fights, it's about protecting each other's mental health. When you shift from silence to validation, from avoidance to presence, you give your spouse more than connection. You give them safety. And safety is the soil where intimacy, joy, and resilience grow. Up next, we'll look at how to build repair rituals that help couples climb out of that silence and create patterns of safety and closeness. So, let's dive straight into signs that marriage strain is hurting mental health. 1. Withdrawal. When one partner begins to emotionally or physically check out, it's often a sign they're overwhelmed. They may spend more time on their phone, at work, or asleep, not because they don't care, but because they don't have the energy to engage. Simone used to talk to Caleb every night before bed. Now, she scrolls on her phone until she falls asleep. Caleb thinks she's just tired, but in reality, she feels safer escaping into distraction than risking another disappointing conversation. 2. Resentment. Little irritations that go unspoken begin to pile up. Over time, they harden into silent hostility. The house feels colder, even when no one's yelling. Caleb leaves dishes in the sink. Simone says nothing, but inside, she adds it to the long list of proof that he doesn't care. By the end of the week, it's not about dishes anymore. It's about respect. 3. Loss of joy. One of the clearest signs of emotional strain is when play, laughter, or intimacy fade away. Couples stop doing the small, silly things that used to keep them connected. Simone and Caleb used to joke while cooking dinner. Now meals are quiet, rushed, and transactional. Neither can pinpoint when the laughter stopped, only that the joy feels gone. 4. Hopelessness. Perhaps the heaviest sign is when one partner begins to believe nothing will change. That hopelessness can spiral into depression if left unaddressed. Simone thinks, why bother bringing up how I feel? Caleb won't listen. Caleb, on the other hand, believes she's never happy with me anyway. Both retreat, convinced their efforts don't matter, and that hopelessness becomes the real enemy. 5. Mini dialogue. Simone, I don't even bring things up anymore. What's the point? Caleb, I thought I was keeping the peace, but I see I've been making things worse. This short exchange highlights how silence is misinterpreted. What Caleb thought was avoiding conflict was actually creating distance and worsening Simone's sadness. Now, I wouldn't share all of this information without offering you the tools to rebuild safety and connection. The SAFE repair model, using SAFE as an acronym. Speak the truth without blame. Use I feel instead of you always. Example, I feel unseen when I share my day and you're on your phone instead of you never listen to me. Why? It reduces defensiveness and opens space for empathy. Acknowledge pain, even if you don't fully understand it. You don't need to solve the pain to validate it. Example, I may not fully get how deep this feels for you, but I see it matters. Thank you for telling me. This step makes your partner feel safe and valued even before resolution happens. Focus on small wins. Trying to fix it all in one talk overwhelms both partners. Example, tonight, let's just talk about the budget stress. We'll circle back to the in-laws tomorrow. Progress feels safer and builds momentum. Engage in repair rituals. Rituals transform one-time efforts into habits that rebuild trust. Examples, a 20-second hug before bed. I'm sorry, plus what I'll do differently, apologies. Shared meditation, prayer, or gratitude check-ins. A playful ritual, inside jokes. Laughter after conflict. So here's the situation. Simone often felt dismissed when Caleb came home exhausted and gave her one-word answers. She started to assume he didn't care. Caleb thought keeping quiet was avoiding fights. Application of SAFE, speak the truth. Simone said, I feel lonely when I share and only get short answers. Acknowledge pain. Caleb responded, I see that hurts you. I don't want you to feel lonely. Small win. They agreed Caleb would give 10 minutes of undistracted check-in after work, even on busy nights. Repair ritual. They created a nightly question. What was heavy today? What was good today? Over weeks, Simone felt emotionally safe again, and Caleb realized that connection didn't require hours, just intentional presence. Reflection time. Where in your marriage could you apply one piece of SAFE today? Is it speaking the truth kindly, acknowledging your partner's pain, focusing on one issue at a time, or creating a small repair ritual? Now let's move into some practical couple strategies. 1. Check-in questions. How was your day? Can sound transactional. A heart-centered question like, how's your heart today? Invites vulnerability instead of logistics. Simone and Caleb. Example, old way. Simone asked, how was work? Caleb replied, fine. End of conversation. New way. Simone asked, how's your heart tonight? Caleb paused and said, honestly, I'm drained, but relieved the project's done. That opened a 10-minute talk that left them both feeling connected. 2. Affection before screens. Phones, TV, and laptops pull couples apart. Choosing affection first tells your partner you matter more than the screen. Examples. Hug for 20 seconds before turning on the TV. Kiss before scrolling on your phone after work. Caleb used to come home, grab his phone, and scroll. Simone felt invisible. They made a new ritual. 90-second hug before screens. Within weeks, Simone said, I feel seen before you disappear into work mode. 3rd weekly reset ritual. Couples often use date nights to talk about bills, schedules, or kids. A reset ritual carves out 30 minutes just for hopes and concerns. The heart stuff. Sunday morning coffee with no phones. Friday night couch talk before the weekend. Every Sunday, they ask 2 questions. What felt heavy this week? And what are you looking forward to? That practice turns stress into teamwork instead of silent resentment. 4. Outside support. Therapy isn't failure, it's maintenance. Just like cars need tune-ups, relationships do too. Seeking help early prevents breakdowns. After months of recurring fights about parenting, they saw a counselor. In 3 sessions, they learned new communication tools that saved them years of repeating the same fight. Caleb said, I wish we'd gone sooner. Marriage can wound, but it can also be medicine. The same partner who hurt you can also help heal you if both are willing to rebuild safety. Which of these would fit best into your rhythm this week? A check-in question. Affection before screens. A weekly reset. Or seeking outside support. This leads us to the part of our segment where we will cover some reflection and couples exercise. You can pause and shut off podcasts and go through each exercise or immediately after. But make sure it gets done because it means everything for the health of your marriage. What's one way unresolved conflict has affected my mood or energy lately? Example. Simone realized she had been sighing a lot and feeling drained, not because of work itself, but because she was holding in irritation over Caleb ignoring chores. Caleb noticed he had been zoning out on his phone more, not because he didn't care, but because he felt shut down after an argument. What's one repair ritual I'd like us to try this week? Example. Simone chose 5-minute nightly check-in so she could voice frustrations before they piled up. Caleb chose hug before sleep because physical touch helps him reset. I want to share an exercise now that you could actually try tonight. Ask each other, what helps you feel seen and safe? Each partner writes down 1 to 2 simple things. Examples. Simone wrote, "When you hug me as soon as you get home and no phones at dinner." Caleb wrote, "When you say you're proud of me and are holding hands while watching TV." Agree to practice just one this week. They chose no phones at dinner. By day 3, Simone said she felt heard, and Caleb admitted he enjoyed the deeper conversations. As you can see from this example, it doesn't take a massive overhaul to rebuild connection. Sometimes it's one hug, one sentence, or one phone-free meal. Small agreements, practice consistently, create safety. And safety is the soil where intimacy and joy grow. So, let's do a brief recap of key insights. Marriage struggles and depression. Yes, unresolved disconnection in marriage can slowly chip away at joy, hope, and mental health. But it's not the end of the story. The power of repair rituals. When couples choose daily check-ins, small gestures of affection, or words that validate, the climate begins to shift. Safety grows where silence once lived. Connection over perfection. Intimacy and healing don't happen overnight or with one grand gesture. They grow through small, consistent choices: the hug before bed, the 10-minute talk, the gentle words that say, "I see you." Simone and Caleb reminded us that even in seasons of exhaustion and disconnection, one change can create momentum. For them, it was a nightly 10-minute check-in. No pressure, no fixing everything. Just asking, what was heavy for you today? What was good? That tiny ritual became the soil where safety and closeness began to regrow. As we end today's episode, remember, intimacy isn't built on perfection. It's built on presence. One small step tonight could spark a new season of connection. So go try it and watch what happens. I want to thank you for spending this time with me. We'll be back next week for another Marriage Builder Sunday episode. Remember, you can connect with us more personally on our Facebook podcast page. And if you're looking for exclusive training, deeper dives, our app, or even our inspirational apparel, you'll find all the details in the podcast bio or at simplifieduplifters.net. If today's episode added value to your life, please share it with someone who needs encouragement. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the Simplified Uplifters Marriage Mastery podcast so you don't miss our upcoming Self-Love Wednesday, where we'll explore individual areas to strengthen your journey towards self-love. Thanks again for joining me on this transformative Marriage Builder Sunday. Until next time, nurture your soul, protect your energy, be kind to yourself, and build the marriage of your dreams. And most importantly, remember this: you are extraordinary.